Yes, we're not going to tell you all the stories, but we have a couple of stories about Wemby, about Scoot, about a few others. It's Pass the Rod.
Yo, can one of y'all pass the gosh darn rock? Hey, yo, I'm trying, I ain't lying, and hosting this will be Brian.
Yeah.
Posting like Kobe Bryant,
Yeah.
flying to see the pie.
Yeah.
Hit the hezzy, we got Jesse, opinions get kinda messy. A fan of out of Letties, from football to racing jet skis. He go silly when he go deep, sheesh, is Zach Zeman. Teaming up with Jack, we stack the whole team, man. Pass the rock, don't stop the shot clock.
Woo.
Smack the slap shot, come on, now let's talk. Pass the, yo, partner, pass the rock, for real.
So much was learned this weekend. A few of us had never been to Las Vegas. A few of us had been quite a bit. And I got to meet Jack and Zach for the very first time, which was great. So, Zach, the first question to you. I know everybody's talking about Wemby and is he 7'5", is he 7'6"? Were you shocked that Jack is over 5'9"?
I was absolutely blown away that Jack was over 5'9". In fact, he's actually a little bit taller than I am, and I'm 6'1". That was probably the biggest shock that I received the entire weekend, besides, of course, Wembanyama playing horribly in front of our very eyes.
Awesome. Jack, are you shocked that we were all shocked at your height?
No, honestly, I've gotten that before, that I'm much taller than I look on camera. But look, I guess I just have a short looking face. You know who really surprised me though was Jesse. Jesse was way taller than I thought he was, also around my height. So we just got a abnormally large group, I guess.
I think what you should understand, Jack, is you just named this episode on our podcast feed "Short Looking Face." That's what we're going with.
I'm all good for it. I'm all good.
Jesse, any thoughts on meeting these two youngsters, and how fun was it to take two 20-year-olds to Vegas?
It was pretty fun, let me just say. But the thing I was shocked the most at is that we're the same height, but our vertical jumps were a little bit different.
Oh, man. How about our 3-point skills? That is a very stark difference.
We've also got a wide range there.
Yeah.
I'm a sharpshooter. Don't test me.
Oh, okay. Check the footage.
All these videos soon coming to a TikTok or Instagram near you for sure. Okay, so we did see a few games. We saw Scoot Henderson play. We saw Wembanyama play. I saw a few other games that you guys missed. Who is the 2023-24 Rookie of the Year, Jesse?
Ooh, that's a good question. I actually think it's going to be Scoot. I think this is a rare take. I liked seeing the summer league games with all of these players in it. Scoot looked the most comfortable on the court to me between all of the guys we saw. And I know Wemby had a great second game, but in his first game he was on the floor like more than he was on the bench in this game. Like he kept falling over, they kept pulling the chair. He just looked a little bit rusty, and honestly, I would be surprised if he plays the whole season. Like, I really think that it might come down to that. Like, I would hate to see him get injured, but I mean, look at Chet Holmgren, who's like the similar prototype of him, who got hurt last year. I just think Scoot, even though, he is ruled out for some of the summer league with his right knee or whatever, I think he'll probably be more durable, more accustomed to the league, and fit in a little bit better just in the rookie season. So I actually think Scoot's going to have a better season and win Rookie of the Year.
All right, Scoot. Let's not forget Chet Holmgren is up for Rookie of the Year this year as well. Going to you, Jack, Rookie of the Year.
I'm still sticking with Wemby. So while it was delayed, my flight was delayed in the Vegas airport, I actually did get the chance to watch Wemby's second game, which was so much better than the first game. I mean, like Jesse was saying in the first game that we were there in person for, they were pulling the chair a lot. He didn't look very sturdy on his feet. Game two, much less of that showed up. He seemed to sort of be much more used to that sort of competition. And it was he was just much more efficient. His numbers, he put up like 27 and 12, and it was pretty quiet. Like, if you weren't really paying attention to how well he was playing, you wouldn't have really picked up on it. But like, that's sort of what you have to do to win Rookie of the Year, is just maybe not be the flashiest guy in the world, but just consistently show up every night and put up those numbers. Wemby's just too talented, man. I can't bet against him.
All right, one vote each. Going to you, Zach. You thinking Amen Thompson or what?
Amen Thompson did impress me in the game that he had against Scoot Henderson. Unfortunately, he also got injured during that game, and that was the one that we all really saw, and that was very tough to see. But I'm actually riding with Jack here. I do think at the end of the day it will probably be Victor Wembanyama. I do like that Jesse mentioned that health could be an issue. I totally agree. I mean, with that frame, I mean, if Embiid posts up against him, he's going to break in half, I feel like. So, other than that, though, from what we saw in that second game, I feel a lot more confident in Victor Wembanyama. I feel like he actually showed why he's the number 1 overall pick, why he was so highly touted for the last year plus. He really showed it off. And I hope he continues to show it once the regular season starts, because he's been shut down for the rest of the summer league. So hopefully it keeps going. Hopefully we keep seeing this kind of performance out of Victor. And if that's the case, I feel like he's going to be a lock for Rookie of the Year. Let's say by the time the NBA Cup gets awarded, that's when we're going to know that if Victor's the real deal.
Is that what it's called, the NBA Cup?
It is.
Awesome.
It is called the NBA
It is
Cup.
quite literally a large cup.
No.
It pretty much is.
That.
Yeah.
That's
Pretty
awesome.
much is.
It's just like a soccer in-season tournament. We'll talk about that in a second. So 2 votes for Wemby, 1 for Scoot. I was really trying to get somebody to bite on Chet Holmgren. I do think that he looked good.
It's not Chet. It's not Chet, dude.
I'm just saying. Look, I could say it's not Wemby. It's not Wemby, because it's absolutely going to be Scoot Henderson. I agree totally with Jesse. I think he's got the perfect Rookie of the Year game, because he can just walk in and be an impact player. He's not going to have any, old grizzled veterans on his team because of, the Dame trade that will happen eventually. And I just think ultimately he is more pro ready even than Wemby. Doesn't mean Wemby's not going to be a great star even as a rookie. I'm interested to see how Pop's going to use him, because I don't think that having him out on the 3-point line is the play for the NBA. His limbs are way too long to not have him down on the block. But I love the idea of Scoot Henderson. I think he wins pretty easily, actually. I think Portland plays up-tempo, no defense, and he's your Rookie of the Year. So those that love Wemby so much, Jack and Zach, what does his first 5 years in the league look like? Starting with you, Zach.
His first 5 years in the league, let's just assume, first of all, that they're all going to be with San Antonio. He's not going to get super disgruntled and, demand a trade or something crazy like that. He's going to, play for his entire rookie contract and then some. I feel like we're going to be seeing multiple All-Star ballots. Not going to be right away, but I can see probably 3 All-Star ballots, maybe a few All-NBA teams. Especially with those 5 blocks, there's a chance all defensive teams as well. But I don't see him leading the Spurs anywhere in the West right now. It is way too powerful. I'm not going to get crazy and say, the Spurs are making the NBA Finals within 5 years of Wemby being there. I think it's going to take a little bit longer than that. And even if they did, it wouldn't be close. I feel like, the Spurs right now, they need a lot more time to build around Victor Wembanyama before they're truly competing for an NBA title. NBA Cup, though, hey, they might get an NBA Cup. I mean, you never know with that new in-season tournament. So Victor's hardware, he's not going to have any hardware, but he'll have a bunch of little accolades here and there to be proud of after 5 years.
Will he make an All-Star team?
Yeah, he's going to make 3 All-Star teams.
No way. Absolutely no way. 0 plus.
3 All-Star teams in 5 years.
He doesn't make anything until year 4. Like, the West is way too good. This guy's 19. When have you seen a 20-year-old be an All-Star that fast at that size?
Do not underestimate how much the media is salivating over him. The media
isn't even an All-Star.
The media is obsessed over him. They're going to push him for an NBA All-Star bid year 2 or year 3, whether you like it or not.
Absolutely. Zach is 100% right. I mean, even if his numbers aren't maybe quite as spectacular as we're expecting, if they're good enough, they're in that All-Star realm, the media will push him into the All-Star game. People want to see Victor Wembanyama on the big stage, and that is just the fact that even if he puts up decent numbers, he's going to get there, especially since the Spurs have no one else. It's a somewhat big-name franchise, and he's the face of it. He's going to get that representation. I pretty much agree with Zach for how his first 5 years are going to go. But
Jesse, don't look like that. You are hearing from our ESPN guy. I mean, this is the guy who has all the ESPN takes. He knows what he's talking about.
How can you expect
if the media
3 All-Stars in 5 years when the West, especially? I mean, come on, it's so stacked, and he will make. I call it now. He will make 0 All-NBA teams over the next 5 years.
Well, that was going to be my next question. If he makes 3 All-Star teams, how many All-NBA teams?
0.
I think by year 5, he's an All NBA caliber.
Year 5,
Like I
Like
want
a third team.
Yeah, like by year
he's
4, year
definitely
5, I think he can
third,
get there.
second team. He's definitely making third, second team, and I really think, just because look, Lauri Markkanen was an all-star last year. You can't
Right.
tell me that there's not room for Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, and what year
when
was Lauri Markkanen in?
Lauri Markkanen is nowhere near what
7.
Wembanyama is a prospect.
Derrick
Of course
Rose
it
was the
took forever to
youngest
develop.
ever. The media was all over that. Don't tell me
Don't
it
compare
can't happen
Vic to
again.
Derrick Rose, the youngest MVP in history. And also, for all NBA, that means he has to be, since he's a center, he has to be the third best center in the entire league. And you've got Jokic, Embiid. Is it Vic after that?
It
Absolutely
could be.
Could be.
In 4 years, absolutely it could be.
I'm with Jack on this one.
I think in the end, he's not going to be a center. He's never going to play center.
I also
and
kinda think that's true.
if he's a forward, there's less competition. Honestly, I feel like he could move even higher in these
7'5" forward. It's crazy.
You know what?
But he has the flexibility, like as a shooter, to do that. I mean,
No, I actually
definitely
agree. I don't think he should play center. I don't think he's built for it.
No, I'm
Yeah.
no, I'm 100% with you. He should be a power forward. He should be. He does not match up well against guys like Embiid, Jokic, Adebayo, the more physical guys that will absolutely
PJ Tucker.
PJ Tucker would probably destroy him.
Exactly. He's too thick and strong. Yeah. No, look,
Honestly,
I
he
agree
should
with
be a
Jesse on this one. I don't think he's making the All-Star team.
You'll see.
I think he's going to be a good player. I think it's going to take him longer to develop. He'll end up making 2 or 3 in his career. But I just don't see in the first 5 years him making an All-Star team. This isn't the MLB where every team gets one. And you say the media is pushing him in that way. Britney Spears tried to push him too, and look what happened to her.
Honestly, though, I still think you're being a little bit biased from that first game that we saw of him. I think you're sort of forgetting everything that we saw in the pre-draft process, his past season in France, the way he dominated over there, and even what he showed in the second
Against plumbers.
Like, he had fine, but he had one bad game, literally one bad game, and now all this.
No, the guy is skilled. It's going to really come down to Popovich and how he uses him. Because if he uses him in a way that's best for him, then maybe he'll make an All-Star team. But it's Pop. He's going to use him the best way for the Spurs, and maybe that's the same thing. But I just don't yet see the athleticism he needs. Obviously, we're judging it on 2 summer league games where he's playing against, mostly schmucks. So,
and which he played very well in.
I just think that Victor, I think for this question, I think he will be an all-star. I just think for the first 5 years, like he's very young, he's very frail. I think 5 years from now, sure, he'll be an all-star. But 3 in the first 5 years, absolutely not. And I just be an injury replacement for somebody. Like, sure, I could see that happening.
I don't know. I think by year 4, he's a bona fide all-star.
I agree.
All right, over
That
to
doesn't mean
Jesse.
3 in 5 years.
That's going to be tough. Over to Jesse and I for Scoot prediction next 5 years. Jess,
I think Scoot will. I also don't think he's going to make an all-star team for the next at least 3 years, just because of how hard it is for guards to make the all-star team in the West. Like, you're still going to have Luka, Steph, Kyrie, like maybe not Dame if he goes to Miami, but the guards in the West. I mean, Ja. All of the young guards on the Rockets. Like, there's a lot of really, really good talent at guard in the West. Like, we've seen De'Aaron Fox not make all-star teams after having phenomenal seasons. So I think Scoot, it'll take a while. I agree with you, Brian, that he's the most NBA ready, I think, of anybody in the draft, considering he played in the G League and just how comfortable he looked and how his game is. So I think he'll probably have more success than Vic in the first 5 years of his career in terms of developing into like a bona fide star. Like, I could see him averaging like 15, 20 points a game in his first year. I mean, I could see, I'm guessing it's going to be around 15 a game this year, but I think he could get 20 points a game by year 2 or year 3.
Yeah, so if I could weigh in here, I think he will absolutely be an all-star by year 4, and he'll be on an all-NBA team by year 5. This guy is it. He's got it all. He can do whatever he wants, and Charlotte is going to so regret who they picked in skipping Scoot in this situation. Yeah. I just think this has the feel of, I'm not calling him Michael Jordan, the feel of that Michael Jordan draft when Portland picked, some lumbering tall guy, and then Chicago was sitting there waiting for Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan did Portland the solid. He's like, look, you guys didn't pick me, but I'm going to throw something back at you. We'll take Miller, and you can go ahead and have Scoot. Jack and Zach, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I sure what you're saying about Jordan, but I honestly, I agree with you, what you're saying about Scoot. I think by year 4, you're right. I think he's an all-star. Kind of similar to what I said about Wemby. And a guy that sort of comes into my head when I think about the way Scoot's career might play out is John Morant. And not obviously what's going on with him off the court. John Morant, the basketball player, was an all-star in year 3. And has at this point is a 2-time all-star. I believe this was year 4, year 5 for him.
Should have been All-NBA.
Yeah, certainly All-NBA. I see Scoot sort of playing out a similar way. I think around year 3, he can definitely make his first All-Star game, and I think that he doesn't look back from there. He's really talented, like you said, Brian. He's the real deal. Charlotte made a terrible mistake not picking him, and I think that he – honestly, I'm sure we're going to talk about him and Wemby in that sort of same conversation throughout their careers because it was the same draft. And I think that both of these guys are going to be future faces of the league.
Yeah.
Zion is a 2-time All-Star, just to compare him to somebody that doesn't even have to play in the NBA.
Look, I'm with all.
That's also sort of, sorry. I mean, that's also sort of what I'm saying about Wemby, though, with Zion. Like, Zion's a 2-time All-Star because the media loves Zion, even though, I mean,
he also has the first 2 weeks of the season, he is all
okay, but I'm saying for a similar reason that Zion manages to get his way into the All-Star game despite not playing. Yeah. Even if Wemby plays 40 games in the season, he could be an All-Star.
A big thanks to our ESPN correspondent for explaining why Victor Wembanyama will be a multiple-time All-Star by the time he is 5 years in his career. But I'm with you guys with Scoot, except for the Michael Jordan comparison. He's not Michael Jordan, obviously.
I was not comparing him to Michael.
Well,
I mean, you mentioned Scoot and Michael Jordan in the same breath. You're basically comparing them to each other.
I don't know how you don't know how the English language works, but keep going.
All right. But I'm with you. I think Scoot Henderson can definitely be an All-Star. Year 4, it might even be year 3. I think he'll be very successful in Portland. I think he's the next generational guard for Portland once they trade away Dame to get pieces to build around Scoot. I really think Scoot has the potential to, be that franchise guy. Kind of funny how they're going from 0 to 00 with the numbers there, but I like it. I really do think Scoot, he is the most pro-ready. I'm with you guys, but again, don't underestimate Wemby's star power just with the media. They're going to make him an all-star by like year 3, year 4. There's no way they don't.
They're going to want to, but,
They're going to. No. If they want to, they're going to make it happen. Don't underestimate it.
All right, moving on. You 3 were live and in person, the first ever NBA midseason tournament announcement of groups. And so I didn't get that privilege. I was too busy watching actual basketball. So thoughts on the tournament in general, and let's start there. Thoughts on the tournament. Go. Zach.
Zach, go for it.
Yeah. Look, honestly, I really want to see it happen before I make any conclusions about it. I feel like the whole formatting seems like a really cool idea. It's kind of based off of what overseas soccer leagues do, like with their mid-season cups. So in general, I think it is a really good idea. I just need to see it happen, and I think it's going to be really funny when we're like, all right, this team just won the NBA Cup, and then come June they're going to miss the playoffs like completely.
Rockets are winning it all.
I can see that. I can see a team like the Rockets or Magic or Spurs that definitely aren't playoff teams get a little hot during this in-season tournament, win the NBA Cup, and then do nothing else the rest of the season. It's going to be very interesting seeing how people place the NBA Cup when it comes to how much it matters in the grand scheme of things. It's going to be interesting to see how it defines legacies in the future. I mean, it seems like it's here to stay. They seemed very intent on being like, yeah, this is going to be a yearly tradition. We're going to be doing this every single year. So buckle up and get ready for it. So you all, someday this is going to be used for legacy conversations. It's like, oh, well, I mean, all right, we can say Michael Jordan never won an NBA Cup. Does that make him worse?
Jorbum never won the NBA Cup.
Jorbum never won the NBA Cup. Let's see if LeBron can win the NBA.
Oh my God, he's going to be insufferable if they win that, and they're going to
If
compare him to
LeBron
Jordan.
wins the NBA Cup, does that make him the GOAT?
Well, they gave the Lakers the easiest group, but we'll talk about that later. Jack,
Look, I'm a big fan of it, and I sort of think that I'm honestly not happy about all the negativity that I've seen online about it. I feel like I've seen way too much. If the cycle of the NBA season always sort of goes like, oh, in October, yay, basketball's back. Everyone's hyped about basketball. November, no one gives a damn about the NBA. And then no one gives a damn until like the NBA Christmas games where people get a little fired up, and then no one gives a damn again. But that November period, that dry spell, is right when this NBA in-season tournament is. So I think this is honestly great for the league. It is during one of the driest points of the season, where usually people are only talking about football and no one is even watching a singular basketball game. Now they have a reason for people to want to tune in. Maybe it's not that meaningful. Maybe it's obviously not an NBA championship, but it's something new and exciting to watch that is basketball in a period where there's usually not good basketball to watch. So I don't know how you can complain about it. I would say I'm optimistic. I think the format is very interesting. And I'm not going to judge it until I see it.
Jess.
I couldn't agree more with Jack. I think it's amazing to have this idea. I think it's better than not having an in-season tournament. Like, I think Jack's so right about it being such a dead time of year. And for good teams and bad teams, it's a dead time of year. But at least the good teams have the playoffs to look forward to. I think if you're a fan of a young and upcoming team like the Magic, the Rockets, the Pistons, the Pacers, this is your Super Bowl. Like, this is your NBA championship. If you can, have some fun in here, get the fans riled up, because there really is zero reason to give any damn about basketball in November unless your team is like 28-0. Like, really, that's like the only reason that you could be looking forward to anything. It's in, you're not quite at All-Star Weekend yet. It's something to get you kind of halfway to there. So I love it. I think the groups are really interesting. I would have liked to see if maybe there was some cross-conference play in like the groups, and maybe they'll do that in future years. But I mean, as of now, all the groups seem very, very balanced to me. I don't think that there's really one that's a clear cut above the rest or one that's really, really bad. So I think it's going to be exciting. I love that it's one and done. I think it's something that's been missing from the NBA for a while. Even the play-in isn't one and done. So I'm very excited to see. And anybody can win on any given day. So that's the reality of the NBA. We could see the Rockets beat the Warriors. We could see the Trailblazers beat the Lakers. Like, it could all happen. So I'm just excited to see it unfold.
Can I just say about this NBA Cup? I think with the way that they made these groups, with how they put these together, and this has been true for basketball for years now, but now more than ever, divisions don't matter in this sport at all.
Not at all.
There is no reason to continue having divisions in the NBA besides having the conferences. There's no reason to have divisions in the conferences. At this point, I would be perfectly fine if they just said, all right, these groups for each conference are considered your divisions for the year, like East A, East B, East C, like whatever they want to name them. I'd be fine if those just replace divisions, because right now divisions have no place in the NBA. There's no, in-season rivalries unless something happens in the playoffs the year prior, or if something happens in a big game or players get into a fight. There's no real intensity coming from divisions right now. These, for all purposes, these groups are now my divisions. Like this is the new division each year that we're going to get.
Yeah, so if I could cycle back, I agree with the division thing. I think in the end, don't even have divisions. You either play teams, if you're a West team, you play other West teams either 4 or 3 times. That's it. And you play everybody in the East twice. So all the schedules are pretty even anyway. Just give me conference standings. But back to the in-season tournament. I have heard a lot of hatred about this from big media outlets. If you hate this tournament, you also hate bunnies and you hate red pandas, the 2 cutest animals on the face of the earth. Like, all we're doing is playing regular season basketball with a little bit extra stake, especially if you get to the championship, you win and you get $500,000 no matter what role you have on the team. I think it's a beautiful thing. I do think that it's really hard to make these groups totally fair. So I think we're going to get to that. But I love it, and I think it's going to be awesome to to see this kind of competition. And I love the single elimination. Like lay it all out on the line, very NCAA. Let's see how it goes. So, which group in each conference do you think is the toughest group? Let me say that over. Which group in each conference is the toughest? Zach.
Right now with the East, I think Group B is staring me right in the face. You got the Bucks, the Knicks, the Heat, the Wizards, and the Hornets. And really it's because I think those top three teams, the Bucks, Knicks, and Heat, all have a legitimate chance to come out of that group. But hey, you never know who could play spoiler. I mean, the Wizards got some upgrades as well. So I think just with that level of competition, other than that, I would say East A looks pretty good with the Sixers, Cavs, and Pacers leading that group. But I'd say on average, I'd probably take the Bucks or the Heat over the Sixers or the Cavs talent-wise. So that's why I'm going to say East B out of the East. And then when it comes to the West, I mean, I feel like it's between A and C for me. I'm going to go with A, even though you think it's the easiest one. I mean, the Grizzlies, Suns, and Lakers alongside the Utah Jazz, who, we already mentioned Laurie Markkinen. They had an all-star. They always show potential. They showed a lot of potential early last season. So if that happens again, this could be a very competitive division. And then on top of that, the Portland Trailers is going to be a young, exciting team if Dame is traded. I can really, depending on who's hot at the time, anyone in West A could come out of that division. So I'm going to go with West A and East B as the two toughest.
Jack, any different thoughts?
Yeah, actually, for me, it's East A for sure. I think that by far that's the division where I could see out of even all six of these, the only one that I could see any of those five teams winning it. I mean, the Sixers and Cavs are obviously the favorites. The Hawks are always a solid team. The Pacers and Pistons are both up and coming with fun young players. I mean, that is going to be a very competitive division. And remember, it's only 4 games for each team that decides it. So, anything can really happen in that stretch, depending on who's hot. So I think it's definitely East A. And the West, I think it's West B, actually. That's the toughest. The Nuggets, obviously, the reigning NBA champions. The Clippers are going to be good with Kawhi and Paul George, assuming they're still playing at this point in the season. You could say the same sort of thing about the Pelicans with Zion, but that's a really solid roster on paper. That team should be a very competitive team. Then you've got the Mavericks, who with a full offseason of Luka and Kyrie, you have to expect they're going to be better than they were last year. Now, I don't know how good they're going to be, but with the guys that are that talented, they can definitely stay competitive in this division. And the Rockets are a team that we've been talking about because how much fun they've been to watch in Summer League. They're just filled with young, fun players, and I could totally see them going on a run. I think that division is going to be incredibly fun to watch in this tournament.
I think that division could be the absolute toughest or the absolute worst. Like Jokic could be like, I'm not playing this week because I'm just, going fishing. Yeah. The Pelicans could all be injured. The Clippers could quit. And then you got the Rockets and the Mavericks like that. But I agree with you. It has on paper, the ability to be the toughest one. I think in the East, I'm going to agree with Zach. I just think Bucks, Knicks, Heat are all going to rise to the challenge. And then, the Hornets, we'll see. I'm not feeling great about them or the Wizards. But Jesse, to you, any different thoughts on this?
Jack, I think kind of stole the words out of my mouth here, but I know East B is very top heavy with the Heat, Bucks, and Knicks. I think that the Bucks and the Heat are not going to give any care about this tournament at all. I think that their sights are set on bigger things. I think it's East A. I think this is the 76ers championship opportunity because Lord knows they're not getting past the second round. So I think that this is where the Sixers thrive.
MB's finally getting a ring, baby. Woo!
And yes, they have the Cavs, and yes, they have the Hawks. But I want to talk about the two teams on the end here. The Pacers and the Pistons are two teams that got a lot better over the offseason. I think the Pacers are going to surprise people and be like the 8th seed next year. And also the Pistons, watching them at Summer League, I think they're the Rockets of the East. They have a very, very good young core between Cade. Jalen Duren has been absolutely balling at Summer League. I'm very excited for him for this year. James Wiseman also getting, acquainted with the team. They have a lot of really good young players on that team. So I think that those are the teams that are really going to be gunning in this tournament and going after it. And then in the West, I think West B is the most evenly balanced. You know, every team in there, aside from the Rockets, is pretty much a playoff team as a lock, or at least in the play-in. And I'm actually going to go with West C. I think there's a lot on the table there as well. I think Minnesota with Anthony Edwards, I mean, we already know that they're the play-in champs, so why not give them the NBA Cup as well? And then you've got Sacramento and Golden State at the top, and they're not going anywhere. And then OKC, I would be very scared to play OKC in this tournament. Yeah. And then, I mean, you have the Spurs, and I think the Spurs are going to be the 30th team in the NBA next year. I think that they have a good shot at the number 1 pick again next year. Because when I look at the West and I look at these 15 teams, I don't really see a team that's worse than them. So the Spurs kind of, hold it down a little bit, but I think West C all the way.
I don't know how the Spurs are going to be 30th when they have a 3-time All-Star as a rookie, but good call. Okay, last question, then we go to football. Jack, most obscure jersey you saw at Summer League?
Honestly, it was when we were walking in the building to our hotel. We saw a Joe Smith Atlanta Hawks jersey, and it was like blue and green. It was a very odd jersey. Pretty cool. Very random.
Mitchell and Ness loves making Joe Smith jerseys. Makes so many of them in so many different colorways. I literally saw one in the mall today. I was walking around, I'm like, oh, there's a Joe Smith jersey.
Yeah, so that one stuck out.
Well, there's 2 I got to shout out. First of all, I saw an Andrew Bynum Sixers jersey at the Summer League. That was awesome. And then there was a guy that we interviewed wearing an Adam Morrison Charlotte Bobcats jersey. I was freaking out. I was freaking out over it because I was like, I've never seen, I don't think I've ever seen a Bobcats jersey in person before that day. So I was freaking out. I was like, we need to talk to this guy. He was a very nice guy wearing an absolute banger of a jersey.
Yeah, the Morrison one was pretty great. I think I got to give it to the Yay Sports moment of the week. The guy with the Argentina Leo Messi jersey at the Summer League game.
Yep.
Could be the move. I mean, that or the guy wearing the Yankees jersey. I think it was a blank Yankees jersey. I don't think there was a player on it. That was pretty great. And then I just want to give a special shout out to the game-worn $1,700 Ish Smith NBA Finals jersey that they had for sale at the convention, which we took a picture with. So if anybody actually bought it, props to you. You just have too much money.
We totally should have bought that. We totally should have.
That was 100% worth the money.
My most obscure jersey I saw was a Glenn Davis Celtics jersey. And then later in that day, I saw Glenn Davis in the flesh. He was not the one wearing the jersey. He was not wearing the jersey. He was just in street clothes. But it was a Glenn Davis LSU kind of day for me. I also saw Tyrus Thomas in person. Just NBA and LSU legends galore. R.I.P. Pete Maravich. All right, let's get on to the NFC South. All right, the 4th of our 8 division recaps, okay, or previews, I should say. Quarterback questions galore in this division. Just so everybody knows, the NFC South this year plays the AFC South and the NFC North. That's their steadfast who everybody plays. So, starting with you, Jack, questions. The Bucs return their great wide receiver core. They actually got Russell Gage in the offseason. Top 10 defense last year. What is their ceiling with Baker Mayfield at the helm?
If I'm being honest, I am not optimistic about the Bucs whatsoever this year. I think they're going to be terrible. I think they're like a 5 or 6 win team, if I'm being honest, just looking at them. I think their defense is fine, but they lost pieces. I mean, they lost Sean Murphy-Bunting, who is a really, really good corner for them last season. And I know they brought back Jamel Dean, so that makes their losses a little bit better on defense. But their defense is like maybe the 10th or 11th best. Like, it's not what it was when they won the Super Bowl. They're fine. And then their offense is awful, like really, really bad. Baker Mayfield, I mean, like, he's so boomer bust. He had that one really fun game with the Rams last year when he signed with them and then played 2 days later and led them to a win. But, like, other than that, he just wasn't that good last year. So unless we're getting, like, peak Cleveland Baker Mayfield back, I just don't think he's that good. Their running back room is really inexperienced. I'm not really going to trust their run game. Their O-line is underratedly bad outside of Tristan Wirfs. And while their receivers are pretty good, I'm not sure that I trust Baker to get them the ball or beyond that, the offensive line to give Baker the time to get them the ball. So I really think this offense is going to be completely dysfunctional. They might be the worst in the whole league, and I just don't think the Bucs are going to be good at all.
Yeah, so I would like to know when the boom is in the boom or bust in Baker Mayfield, because it's been quite a few days since we've seen a boom.
Yeah.
Zach, the Panthers made a ton of changes. What is the learning curve of Bryce Young in 2023? Do you think he figures it out a little bit?
I mean, I think the pieces are definitely in place for him to figure it out. I feel like this offense is a little bit underrated, if anything. I mean, getting Thielen and DJ Chark are two immediately solid weapons for Bryce Young to be using. Miles Sanders as a running back. Everyone in his offense is solid. No one is like this great immediate number one guy that you have to go to every single time. So, I mean, it honestly feels like this is a great offense for him to learn to throw the ball around, to use all of his weapons, use all of his guys. I think Bryce Young is an opportunity to impress people. I think he has an opportunity to show us what he's made of and really, lead the Panthers to, maybe a bit better than what people are saying. Maybe even a second place finish in the division. That's what I'm thinking. But I mean, let's be real. The Panthers still have a long way to go as an entire team. Bryce Young, I think he'll have a solid rookie season, but he's not going to completely dazzle. He's not going to become the next big star of the NFL right away. It's going to take some time for both Bryce Young and the Panthers to get better, but I'm looking forward to the future. I think it is optimistic.
Jesse, do you think Bryce Young has that Jack kind of short guy energy, or do you think he can overcome that?
I think he can overcome it. I think that the Panthers are actually going to be a slept-on team this year. I think they somehow won 7 games last year. So, I mean, with that as their baseline, and their offense is a lot better than it was last year, like completely revamped. You got Thielen, you got Terrence Marshall, you got Miles Sanders, they got Hayden Hurst, I believe, as well. So they got all the weapons that Bryce Young needs to succeed. And, I mean, at this point, the world is his oyster. So I think he's got what it takes.
All right, over to the Falcons, Jack. The Falcons, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, all in the last 3 years in the draft, first round, and Desmond Ridder. Can they win?
Yeah, I definitely like my opinion on the Falcons. It varies from player to player. I think overall, this team is going to be decent. I think their defense is not very good at all, but I do think their offense can be really solid. They have a very solid O-line. And I am so high on Bijan Robinson. I think Bijan Robinson is going to set foot on the field and immediately be a top 5 running back in the NFL. I think he's that good. And I think he's going to be really dynamic for this Falcons offense. And honestly, open up the passing game a bit because he's such a threat on the ground, which will make Desmond Ridder's life a lot easier. And I think Arthur Smith is a really bright offensive mind. Obviously, his first few years at Atlanta have not been great, but back in his days as the offensive coordinator in Tennessee, he was really good there running that Shanahan-type system. And I think he can implement that well with a really solid ground game in Atlanta, led by Bijan Robinson, and it will open up the passing game a little bit to get some easy reads for Desmond Ridder. I think this offense can be good enough to make the Falcons at least a competitive team this year.
All right, over to you, Zach, a closeted Atlanta Falcon fan. Where do you think they are? Over under 7.5 wins for the Falcons this year.
Ooh, I like that line a lot. I think that's a really good line for these Falcons. But honestly, I do think they're going to be under. I feel like this is going to be a team that could be really fun to watch, but they're not going to win a lot of games. Like, that offense will be really fun to watch, but that defense won't really be impressive, and it won't be able to keep them up. I can see this Falcons team losing a lot of shootout type games where, the offense, whether it be Ridder or Taylor Heineke, who's their QB2, I think he definitely gets playing time if Ridder disappoints whatsoever during this season. Like, this could be a fun offense to watch, but that defense is going to be brutal. So I think 7.5 is a really good line. I think they're only going to be able to reach 7. So I can't see him going over.
All right, Jesse, you get the start of the Saints question. Saints had a top 5 defense last year, if you're not aware. Kamara's probably going to miss some time, pled no contest to the charges in Las Vegas from the Pro Bowl 2 years ago. He'll probably be suspended 4 to 6 games. Derek Carr is the new QB. What's their best possible regular season finish in the NFC South and in the NFC as a whole?
I'm just wondering, top 5 by what metric?
Yards allowed.
Oh, okay.
That's
What's their
the metric that they rank defenses on. So
okay, bud. Sure. I think their floor. I think their floor has to be 7 wins. I think that anything less than that is embarrassing with the team that they have and the division that they play in. I think their absolute ceiling is the 3 seed in the NFC. I think you got the Eagles, you got the Niners, and you've got the Cowboys. You know, considering that the Eagles and the Cowboys are in the same division, I could see that maybe the Cowboys finish. You know, maybe they finish with 10 wins and the Saints somehow get 11. I don't think that they're going to finish in the top 2 in the conference. I think the Saints absolutely need to win this division. Otherwise, they're not going to make the playoffs. So I think there's not going to be a single wild card team from this division. Let's just start with that. And I think that the Saints, you know, they should be right around the 3 or 4 seed, which should maybe play into them. But they might end up drawing the Cowboys in a first round matchup in the playoffs, you know, 4 or 5 seed, and just get absolutely screwed.
I have a little bit of a pushback on absolutely no chance of a wild card just because of the divisions this division plays. I think it's between the NFC North and the NFC South as far as, you know, maybe that 7 seed. I could see a scenario where either the Panthers or the Falcons jump up and just have a little luck go their way and get enough wins to at least be in the discussion late. But with that said, the team that wins this division, over or under 9.5 wins, Jack?
Oh, that's a really good line. Well, I'll put it this way. I think there's going to be only one team in this division that's over 500. And I think that team could definitely win the division at 9 games. But I think I'm going to take the over. It's usually unlikely to see a division champ that's that bad. Then again, if there's any division where that could happen, it would be this one. But I think my division champion, I'm expecting either 9 or 10 games. And because of how bad I think the rest of the division is going to be, I'll lean with the over and think they win 10.
All right, Zach.
Sorry. I am much more confident in this answer. I'm absolutely taking the over here. I mean, I think the biggest reason why is that they are playing the AFC South and the NFC North. I think whoever wins this division gets 6 wins out of those divisions alone, let alone divisional matchups and other stuff. So I definitely think whoever wins this division should have around 10, 11 wins. If they have a really good year, it could be 12. I could see another team getting around the 9-win range, but nothing really higher than that. Whoever wins this division should run away with it. This shouldn't be a very close race towards the end of the year, but I think 10 wins plus absolutely going to be.
All right, Jesse, over under 9.5 wins for the champion of this division.
I'm just looking at last year. It's pretty disgusting. Every team in the NFC South had a worse record than every team in the NFC East. So it's pretty crazy that happened and that the division winner had 8 wins last year. I think it's going to be over. I think there's going to be 10-7. I think that's about the ceiling. I would be shocked if anybody here won 11 games. I think it will be the Saints going exactly 10-7 next year and closing it out. So I think it's a slight over.
Any chance that a second team, whoever's in second place, has a winning record, Jack?
I don't think so at all. I really don't. I think that honestly, all the teams in this division are not very good. And I would honestly be stunned if there were more than one team with a winning record.
Zach?
I think there definitely can be more than one team with a winning record, but honestly, it's probably a coin flip whether or not that happens. Whoever's in second place will be right around that 8-9, 9-8 type record. So could go either way. I'm going to say it's doubtful, though. I'm going to say it's only going to be one team with an over 500 record.
Jesse, yes or no? 2 teams over that have winning records.
Nah, I agree with Zach. I think it's going to be like 10-7, 8-9, 7-10, 6-11.
Y'all are all wrong. It's 12-5, 9-8, and then like 5-12, 4-13.
Here, you know what? The Saints will win 12 games next year if Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas both play the whole season. Which
Well,
is
we already know Kamara won't be, but they have They have a better
That's why I
backup
said
running
that.
back than most of the starters in this division. So,
It's true.
okay, Jesse, over to you. Our better than for the NFC South.
All right, today's is better than is none other than a guy who's been extremely highly ranked and then pretty low ranked last year. So kind of a perfect situation for this. Is Kyle Pitts better than? So we're doing tight end edition this week. And let's start it off with some NFC South players. So let's go. Is Kyle Pitts better than Taysom Hill?
Yes, he's better than Taysom Hill.
But can he throw and run?
Man, he can throw and run. Bold take. I'm going to say that Kyle Pitts is in fact better than Taysom Hill.
He is better. He'll have better stats at the tight end position just because Taysom Hill won't get the opportunities.
So what if I said, is Kyle Pitts more versatile on the football field? But that's a different question. All right. Pat Freiermuth, for all you Steelers fans.
Oh, man. You know I love me some Pat Freiermuth, but I think Pitts is better. That dude is just so physically talented.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Pitts on this one. Pitts is better than Freiermuth.
What has Freiermuth ever done, ever? Nothing.
Dude is
Kyle
consistent.
Pitts.
Freiermuth is
solid. Freiermuth is solid. He's solid.
Good hands.
Is he?
Good hands, good route runner. He's just a solid, reliable target.
What's the most amount of receiving yards he's had in a season? 400?
No, he's had more than that. I will get back to you on that.
450?
All right, well, we're going to move along.
700 pairs.
The Freiermuth love is ridiculous.
It's like 750
All right.
to watch.
Up next, Cole Kmet.
Yeah, Pitts is way better.
Pitts is way better.
Komet's worse than Freiermuth, so Pitts is better than both.
Yeah, I don't know how he squeaked onto this list. David Njoku.
I like Njoku, but I think Pitts is significantly better.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm going with Kyle Pitts here.
No, it's Njoku. Okay, they're both super inconsistent and haven't done anything. And Njoku's done more now, and he's going to have a lot better quarterback. So give me Njoku.
Yeah, I think Njoku's a guy who also has all of the tools to be a very, very good tight end in the National Football League, but has just had his quarterbacks over the last few years have been Baker Mayfield and then Jacoby Brissett and everybody in between that. And maybe with a full season with Deshaun Watson, he could definitely be in the top 10 conversation. So up next, let's go Dallas Goedert.
Oh boy, this is gonna be one I'm gonna get killed for. I think Pitts is better. I think Dallas Goedert is a very good tight end. He's very consistent, but just Kyle Pitts is so talented. That guy is a wide receiver in a tight end's body, and I know he hasn't really had the production because of the way that Arthur Smith uses him in the offense. He just doesn't use his tight ends for some reason. But if that man got the ball, and when he does, he is just so explosive from that tight end position.
Man, I cannot wait to read these comments. I cannot wait to read these comments. I cannot wait. It is obviously Dallas Goedert because kind of like how Brian was saying, at least Dallas Goedert has had multiple productive seasons in the NFL. Kyle Pitts has had exactly one productive season. And before that,
did he?
Yeah. He had like 1,200 yards last year.
Okay.
Yeah, he had like 1,200 yards. But
then he lost his quarterback.
Goedert has done more. Goedert has shown consistency. It is, without a shadow of a doubt, Dallas Goedert right now.
Yeah, I'm not going down the hype train. I'm going on production, and give me Dallas Goedert like by a landslide.
Yeah, Zach's actually undercover this week. He's not wearing his Eagles gear, so people won't be able to tell.
I'm only wearing my Falcons stuff to mess with Brian.
Let me just say,
and he barely had 1,000 yards in 21. Last year he had 356 yards.
I was just gonna say, but Brian, let me on that note. In year one, he had over 1,000 yards. Year two, less than 400 yards, less than 60 targets on the entire season.
Right,
which is. I don't know if you want to do math.
That's a guy I want to bet on.
No, that's the problem, though. They just need to give him the ball. He is so talented when he gets the ball in his hands. They just don't give it to him.
But what if they found a reason not to give him the ball?
I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me.
What
Because
is-
he was
no,
productive in year
what-
one with the
what-
ball in his
what-
hands.
The Falcons are too busy
What-
using 4 running backs to throw that are
Exactly.
Right,
exactly.
but like that's what's ridiculous. I mean, he's the most talented playmaker on that team, except for now with Bijan Robinson in the building. But the last 2 seasons, he's been the most talented playmaker on that team, and he just does not get the ball nearly enough.
So what you're basically saying, now that Bijan's in the locker room, he's going to get even less targets this upcoming season because they're all going to go to Bijan on the ground.
Well, that might be true, but that won't matter because Bijan's gonna be so damn good. It doesn't.
Pitts won't even make the field if he can't block for Bijan.
Yeah, I mean, let me just say this. Kyle Pitts is the worst player in fantasy football to have on your team because he's a guy you can never bench because his upside is too high. But the 1 week you do bench him, he goes for 28, and then you start him again the next week, and he goes for 3. It's just it's the way the world works. You'll never start him on the right week. Don't draft him. Up next, we're going Dawson Knox.
Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is better.
You are just all over Kyle Pitts. I cannot
Dawson
wait
Knox
for you
is
to
not
draft.
good. He is literally just not
He
good.
is good.
The Bills replaced him because he sucks.
Dude, he's good.
Dalton Kincaid
Knox-
is the new Bills tight end
Dude.
because Dawson Knox is not good.
Dude, Dawson Knox is good, dude. And at least he's been a little more consistent. I'm taking Dawson. I'm
If
taking
Kyle
Dawson.
Pitts played with Josh Allen, he would be Tony Gonzalez by now. Like,
That's
Oh,
so
yeah.
true.
Oh, yeah.
That's so true.
For sure.
No, it's absolutely Kyle Pitts. If you look at Dawson Knox's stats, he does get touchdowns, but he's averaging between 400 and 500 yards a year. No way.
all right, up next.
Still better than Kyle Pitts.
Up next, we've got NFC Pro Bowler Evan Ingram.
He was really good last year, but Kyle Pitts is just a better player. I mean, like, I just think he's just so much more talented. But if Evan Ingram puts up the stats that he did last year again this year, which I find hard to believe, then maybe we can have a conversation.
I'm honestly in the same boat as Jack here. I am leaning Kyle Pitts here, but Ingram did have a really great season last year. If he can repeat it and Kyle Pitts continues to do what he's been doing, next year when you ask the same question, there'll be no doubt in our minds it will be Evan Ingram. But right now, it is Kyle Pitts.
I have to vote Kyle Pitts here, but I hate every moment of it. I want to say Ingram so bad.
I wouldn't hate you. I think Ingram was a similar type of player who was like a very good prototype who then kind of didn't work out, and now he's in a much better offense. So I'm just hoping Kyle Pitts can get out of Atlanta or Atlanta can get a real quarterback at some point because his talent is just going to go to waste there. Up next, Dalton Schultz in a new home this year.
All right. Well, I think this is about to be a similar situation to the Dallas Goedert take, but I have Kyle Pitts. I just think he's a better player if only he got the ball to prove it. And I think both of you are going to say Dalton Schultz because he's consistent and shows production. But give me Kyle Pitts.
Dude, he was a former Cowboy. You think I'm going to root for
Okay,
Dalton
fair.
Schultz
Fine.
in this race? I mean, seriously? No, I'm probably going to go with Kyle Pitts actually on this. I do think, you know what? I'm just going to argue the way that you've been arguing. Bank on the upside. Kyle Pitts has more upside than Dalton Schultz does. So Kyle Pitts is clearly better because of the upside.
If Dalton Schultz had gone anywhere but the Texans, I would vote for him. But
That is also true. That is also true. He went to the Texans and not anywhere else.
so that's brutal. Give me Kyle Pitts.
Uh-oh.
Awesome. Well, I'll present the
Go
next
for it,
one. Mike Gesicki. Over to you, Jack. Mike Gesicki.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts is way better than Mike Gesicki.
Sorry about that, fellers. I don't know what just happened, but my internet's tweaking right now. So my parents are having a house party. I think 20 people are on the Wi-Fi. It's bad. So we left off with Dalton Schultz. I think if Kyle Pitts also played on the #1 scoring offense over the last 5 years, he'd have a little more to show for his first 2 years in the league. So we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. So let's go TJ Hawkinson.
That's tough. That's really tough. I think
Is it?
because I think because of production, I have to go Hawkinson. But I think Pitts is a more talented football player. But
I thought we were going to have to break out Kelsey just to win one.
I know, right?
and honestly, that's how highly I think of Pitts, though. Like, to me, it's like
Oh, I know.
Kelsey, Kittle, Hawkinson, and then maybe Pitts. Like,
What? Oh my God.
yeah.
That is an awful ranking. Oh my god.
Wait. Say that again. I want to make sure I heard that right. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
seriously.
I said Kelsey, Kittle, Hawkinson, and Pitts, but I feel like I'm forgetting someone.
Darren Waller's you're forgetting.
I am forgetting
Waller and Goddard.
I forgot
Waller
Darren
and
Waller.
Goddard.
I think Pitts is better than Goddard. I forgot.
Juwan Johnson. You're forgetting Juwan Johnson.
Well, Brian, do you want me to add him to the carousel? Because I'm sure that these guys are going to have words to say.
That's up to you. It's up to you.
What are your thoughts on TJ Hawkinson, the two of you?
Zach.
All right. TJ Hawkinson is definitely better than Kyle Pitts. And I'm just going to add on because Jack is just so clearly wrong. Dallas Goedert is better than TJ Hawkinson. I don't know where you're getting your rankings from.
I don't agree with that. I don't think Dallas Goedert is better than TJ Hawkinson. I don't think Kyle Pitts is near TJ Hawkinson.
All right, we're going to go. This is our last one of the day. Darren Waller, arguably a top 3 tight end in the NFL.
Yeah, I already sort of alluded to it. I forgot about him in my rankings, but I think he is better than Kyle Pitts. Darren Waller at this point has been a consistently top 5 tight end in the league for the last 4 seasons. And I don't think that changes as he goes to New York. I think he's still a top 4 or 5 tight end in the league. As long as he's on the field. So give me Darren Waller.
Mm-hmm. As long as Waller is healthy, he blows most of these tight ends out of the water, including Kyle Pitts. So, of course, give me Darren Waller.
Darren Waller is better than Kyle Pitts, and his quarterback is twice as good. So give me Danny Dimes, tossing it to Darren Waller.
I don't know why, but every time you lean forward, your mic goes absolutely batshit. So. All right, that concludes this week's episode of Is Kyle Pitts Better Than? I think he's pretty much a consensus top 7 tight end in the NFL. I think you could make an argument for as high as 5. But at this point, I think it's pretty clear Kelsey, Kittle, Waller, Hawkinson, Goddard are the top 5. And then pretty much nobody else has a better right to number 6 than Kyle Pitts. So there we go. Brian, why don't you take us away with our division predictions for the NFC South?
That's right. Here we are. I'm the homer in this division. I know Zach's got a Falcons jersey on, but he doesn't know what he's doing. So, Jesse, we're going to start with you. NFC South, rank them.
All right, I'm going to go New Orleans number 1. I think it's a crime if they don't finish number 1 in this division. I'm going to say the Panthers jump up to number 2 because they were already close enough to that last year. I mean, they were tied for the number 2 seed with the other 2 teams in this division. And I think of the 3 teams here, I think they improved the most this offseason. And then I'm going to go Atlanta at 3. And then actually, yeah, I'm going to go Atlanta at 3. I had written down something different, but I'm going to go Atlanta at 3. I think Atlanta also improved a lot this offseason. They signed some offensive linemen. They got a lot of help on the defensive side. I almost forgot that they got Jesse Bates. They also got Jeff Okudah. So their secondary is going to be a lot better. And then I have 0 hopes for the Buccaneers this year. They were under 500 last year, and they got worse. So I think it's going to be New Orleans, Carolina, Atlanta, Tampa Bay.
Zach?
Yeah, I'm chalk with Jesse here. I have New Orleans. I can definitely see them going 10, 11 wins this year. I know as much as you want 12-5, Brian, it's going to be a little bit tough for this team. But I do like New Orleans to win this division. I'm with Jesse. If they don't win it, it would honestly shock me. They should definitely be winning this division. And I also am pretty high on Carolina. Like Jesse said, they were a 7-win team last year. Bryce Young has the weapons and the potential to be able to lead this team. I don't see them as a wild card team, but I see them competing for that 7 seed. I see them right in the thick of it when it comes down to it in week 15, 16, 17. They're going to be right there in the thick of it. Then I have Atlanta in 3rd place. If they can figure out this quarterback situation, this would be a lot more competitive of a division. But right now with Ritter, I don't like it. Be prepared to see Taylor Heineke play. I think Taylor Heineke can be a lot of fun with a bad team. So Taylor Heineke with this offense could be a lot of fun.
I totally forgot he was on the Falcons.
Yeah. Taylor Heineke is QB2, and I think he will play this year at some point. But finally, Tampa Bay. I know they have Baker Mayfield. I kind of wish it was Kyle Trask just so we could see him play because, he hasn't played a lick of NFL minutes. He was behind Tom Brady while he was in Tampa Bay. So I really wish this was Kyle Trask, but there really isn't a lot of hope for this Tampa Bay squad, so they're in my 4th place.
Jack, go ahead and depress us all.
Yeah, I this is the segment that I've been dreading for weeks. I'm about to put my job on the line here because Brian might fire
No,
me
you're
after
not.
this.
No, you're
But
not.
this is not going to be good. My first place team is the Carolina Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to be a really good team, or not maybe really good, but in comparison to the rest of this division, I think they're going to be the best team here. I think they win around 10 games. I'm a huge Bryce Young guy. I think he's the favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year by far. Actually, Bijan Robinson, but he's going to be the best quarterback in his rookie season. And I think he's going to make the Panthers. He's going to really revamp this Panthers offense, and their defense is quite good. I honestly think the Panthers have a borderline top 10 defense. I mean, they've got Brian Burns, they've got Dante Action Jackson, Von Bell, Jeremy Chin, Derek Brown. I mean, this is a really solid
Horn.
defense. JC Horn, thank you. Like, this is a really, really solid defense all around. And I think that honestly will be the biggest strength of this team. I think that's why they're going to win the division. Second place, I have the Atlanta Falcons. And this is the one that Brian's going to kill me for. I just think the Falcons, like, they're going to be fine. I think their defense is not great. I think their offense is going to be more so what carries them. I think Bijan Robinson is going to be outstanding in his rookie year and running behind a really good offensive line. And I think that carries the Falcons to second place. Third place, I have Brian's New Orleans Saints. I just am not that high on the Saints this year. I feel like people are really overrating what Derek Carr is going to do to this offense. Derek Carr was terrible last year. Derek Carr was a guy that was benched and then cut. I mean, the Raiders couldn't stand to have this guy in their QB room anymore. And I honestly don't blame him. He was honestly a bottom 6 or 7 quarterback in the league last year. And unless he shows significant improvement this year, I just don't think the Saints offense can be that good with him at the helm. And then their defense just isn't that good. They have a solid secondary with Lattimore. And I can't even remember who else is in that secondary, but I feel like their secondary is decent. Their pass rush is really not great. It's Cam Jordan and not much else. And defensively, you can't really do much if you're not getting that much pressure on the quarterback. I don't think the Saints are going to be the worst team in the NFL, but I think they're far from the favorites in this division. And then last is the Tampa Bay Bucks. I think they're terrible.
You done?
Very.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right.
All right. So let me tell you the answers to the test here. The answers to the test are A, the New Orleans Saints. They will be 11-6 or 12-5. Derek Carr doesn't have to be the best quarterback in the NFL. He just has to be a serviceable quarterback, which the Saints have not had. So either he's going to take them to the division title, or he's going to get injured at some point, and Jameis Winston is going to be the comeback player of the year. Those are the only two options. B, they have the top 5 defense last year. Let me remind you of that. The beauty of it is when they're not getting a pass rush, they have a secondary that can shut you down. It's not just Marshawn Lattimore. If I could read a few other folks to you. They don't have the updated thing here. So, yeah, they do. Sorry.
Oh, they do. They have
Paulson,
too. I forgot.
Paulson Adebo, the Honey Badger, Marcus May, Marshawn Lattimore, Bradley Roby, nickel cornerback that could be a starter, Jonathan Abram, Alante Taylor. They have the defense to compete, especially in this division.
Read me that pass rush, though. It's gross. Read me that pass rush. It's disgusting. Outside of Cam Jordan.
Well, they have Cam Jordan. They have what?
Who is aging?
He's aging, but he's got enough to provide when you have something on the other side. They drafted Isaiah Foskey out of Notre Dame as the opposite side, and they have Brian Brzee, who was their first-round pick, who's going to be in the middle. He's not as much of a pass rusher, more of a run stopper, and Peyton Turner, who has to show up. They have to show up. I'm not saying they're the best defense in the world. I'm saying without a pass rush last year, they were still top 5 in yards allowed because they shut you down in the back end. So, anyway, they're number 1. Number 2, the Atlanta Falcons. This team is a lot better than you're giving them credit for. They have all the weapons to make Desmond Ridder look okay in the NFL. And if not, I agree. Taylor Heineke scares the you-know-what out of me. Because I can't imagine he won't be the number 1 quarterback by week 3. I can't believe he's not there now, but that's the Falcons for you. Carolina is going to be super – they have done a lot of work in the offseason to get this team ready. Their defense is going to be good. I think Bryce Young is going to be super terrible. I just don't see him having any success in the NFL. He'll play with this team 3 or 4 years, but he's just not the guy that's going to make them be a winner, especially in the NFC South. And then Tampa Bay, I think we can all agree, is just, they're at the end of this like deal with the devil with Tom Brady and all that, and they're just going to have to deal with it for a few years, and they're going to be bad. But we shall see. But up next, your favorite segment, Jack, okay? We're going to do an NFL fantasy draft, NFC South only. Are we ready? Here is the order. We're going Jack, Jesse, me, and then Zach. All right?
Can you say that one more time crisply, Brian?
I would love to. NFC South draft, fantasy draft, NFC South only. All right, Jack, you're first, then Jesse, then me, then Zach. You get one quarterback, one running back, one wide receiver, one flex. Jack, are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready. I get the number 1 pick this week. This is the week above all others that I was hoping to get the number 1 pick because it is so obvious to me. Bijan Robinson. This guy is going to take the league by storm next year. I hope to God I get him in fantasy in real life because I think he's going to be so awesome.
Jesse is frozen again. Maybe he's thinking more about Alvin Kamara every day.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Glad to see Jesse taking his time. We actually only have a 90-second timer for these fan drafts. If he misses his pick,
he's good. He's going to do some Minnesota Vikings action from years ago where they missed their pick in the draft.
Vikings action.
Well, Zach, start thinking about it. If he doesn't get back,
no!
I
already have my.
I'm next. I'm next.
I already have my ideas, but it's all based on who you and Jesse take. We don't know who Jesse's taking right now because Jesse's too busy with his house party.
Jesse says his Wi-Fi has crashed.
Oh no! All right, then we're gonna need to mail in picks.
Do we just auto pick for him?
Or do we have him?
I want him to mail in picks, and we'll write it down.
Now, this is definitely the most interesting draft we've had so far.
All right. Just because it's down to 3 people.
Yeah. All right. So the Wi-Fi's crashed. Brian, do you want to be commissioner and announce his picks if he ever sends them in?
There he is. There he is.
Mobile.
Oh, nope. And he's gone.
There he is.
We're going mobile.
We're going
My
mobile.
entire house Wi-Fi just crashed, so.
What kind of party is going on there? That's amazing.
Seriously.
I have no idea, man.
Rager. Absolute rager.
We're just going to ride with this for now.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard the first overall pick, but it was Bijan Robinson.
I didn't hear shit. You said NFC South, and then I cut out.
Yikes.
Okay, so first pick by Jack was Bijan Robinson. You have the second overall pick.
Okay. With the second overall pick in the NFC South, I'm selecting wide receiver Chris Olave of the New Orleans.
Ooh.
I like it. I like the pick.
That's a great pick. I was going to pick that, assuming you were going a different direction. So I'll go the other direction, and I'm going to take Alvin Kamara because I know he's going to be special at the end of the year. And I know he gets to run against all these putrid NFC defenses or NFC South defenses. So give me Alvin Kamara.
Very interesting spot I'm put in. There's a lot. This division is surprisingly deep at wide receiver. So I could wait here. This is actually pretty tough. Do I want to bank on Michael Thomas actually staying healthy? God, no. Do I want to trust any Tampa Bay wide receiver? I might have to because they're the best left available. Maybe I take a flyer on DJ Chark. I think he's probably the best wide receiver in that group.
That third overall DJ Chark, go for it.
Yeah, that would be nuts. I mean, please do.
No, I'm not doing that.
Guys,
fourth overall. But I already know who my next pick's going to be. So you know what? We're going to go Mike Evans here at 4th overall. And then at 5th overall, we are going to go with Bryce Young. We're going with
I was
Bryce
hoping
Young.
to get back.
I think he has the upside to be the best quarterback in this division, so I'm pretty happy with that. Finally, I actually drafted a quarterback early.
God.
Good
That
work.
sucks.
Good
I was
work.
praying you would get back to me.
It's interesting because now I'm up. There aren't 3 quarterbacks in this division that you want to take. There's a ton of the receiver depth I'm actually impressed with as I look at this list. So I think what I'm going to do is wait on receiver because I know if I don't pick a quarterback here, I'm going to have Ritter or I'm going to have Mayfield. So give me Derek Carr.
Good pick. Good
Well, Brian, I appreciate it because I was really unsure of what direction to go, and you just made my decision a lot easier. At this point, quarterback is a wasteland, so I feel like I'm not even going to waste any time on that. And a lot of good options on the board here, but I'm going to secure my running back and give me Miles Sanders on the Carolina Panthers.
Solid pick.
I think Booby Miles is in for a big year.
I was hoping there was a chance he'd fall back to me. That's a good pick, though. I like it.
All right. I honestly am pretty happy with the way the board has fallen here. I was hoping Bryce Young would get back to me.
No.
I don't believe in any of the other quarterbacks in this division after him, so I'm fine now with this wasteland. The one guy that I'm shocked is still here, and I'm going to snag right away, is Chris Godwin. I can't believe he fell all the way back to me, and I think he's probably the second best receiver in this division after Mike Evans. So I'm thrilled to get him. And then my second pick is also not going to be a quarterback because they all suck. It's got to be either Kyle Pitts or Rachaad White. I think those are the 2 best options here. Rachaad White has a lot of receiving upside, but I think I have to bank on Kyle Pitts.
Well, you keep making these decisions easier for me as well as these goes on. As these go on, I love Chris Godwin, but he's got Baker Mayfield throwing him the ball now, not Tom Brady. So I think that docks him down a few points, even though he is pretty much the model of consistency when it comes to fantasy football. Like he had like 15 points every single game last year. All right, so let me look at my board real quick. So Bijan's off the board, AK's off the board. Miles Sanders off the board, Evans, Godwin. Not a lot going on here. I'm going to fill out my flex spot and give me Jamal Williams from the New Orleans Saints.
Ooh, dang it.
As somebody who's been an Alvin Kamara owner in fantasy for a long time, the Saints love to give the ball to their second running back. Mark Ingram did it for years. Jamal Williams, as the second running back last year, had a phenomenal year. He's amazing on the goal line. I think he's going to get a lot of touchdowns. Give me Jamal Williams at the flex. Let's go.
No, I wanted him to fall back and be my running back. Oh, that really sucks.
That's a great pick. I really like that pick because I think even after the suspension's over, I think Jamal Williams has a huge role in that offense. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 people I'm not going to pick, but that I think are going to have unbelievable seasons as like your deeper wide receivers, and that's going to be Rashid Shaheed of the Saints and Terrace Marshall Jr. of the Carolina Panthers. I like both of those. I'm not picking either of them because I'm going to go with Drake London. I don't think I would like to believe he's in that same Kyle Pitts territory of being unbelievably skilled, but just a terrible quarterback. But as I look at these receivers, I don't really trust Adam Thielen at his age and with his quarterback. So give me Drake London.
All right. So coming to me again, I got 2 picks back to back, and man, this is. I think I already know what I'm going to do with my flex, so I got to fill out a running back here, and unfortunately, Jamal Williams is off the board. That would have been a great pick. Oh man, I'm pretty upset with that. That was a really good pick, but you know what? I'm going to get a wide receiver 1 here. I'm going to get a running back 1 here, still on the board. Give me Rachaad White here. I mean, pretty much the only running back 1 left on the board.
I wanted to force you to take him because you were talking down on him before the show.
He's just better than Jamal Williams. I honestly don't know why you took Williams over him.
Boom, steal, I guess. And then wide receiver comes down to if I'm really concerned about Michael Thomas's injury status. And honestly, I am because he has not played a healthy season in God knows how long. So give me at the flex DJ Chark.
I can already see the comments. Michael Thomas going undrafted? What?
Michael Thomas going undrafted? Oh my God, Michael Thomas? How
honestly, the Chark over Thielen is crazy.
He doesn't stay healthy.
Okay, but Chark over Thielen is crazy. I'm sorry.
I don't think that's crazy.
All right, Brian, you're up.
Yeah, so I'm at Adam Thielen or Mike Thomas, and I don't, I already have two Saints, and I don't want to be that big of a homer, but I do think there's an outside chance he is reinvigorated by a significant upgrade in quarterback, despite what Jack thinks. However, I got burned by him nasty last year, drafted him way too much. So give me Adam Thielen. If anybody can make Bryce Young look good, it's Adam Thielen.
Yeah, so far Brian's got, I think, a pretty dangerous looking squad. Suspensions aside. So I'm at a quarterback deficit here. I got to take a quarterback. So far, Derek Carr's off the board, Bryce Young's off the board. After that, who really cares? I'm going to take Taylor Heineke. I don't care about Desmond. Trust me when I say this. Taylor Heineke will be the starter by week 4. I think Taylor Heineke.
I love the pick.
Taylor Heineke wins QB battles. It's what he does. The past 2 seasons, he's fought his way into the starting role and absolutely thrived when he got it. I have no faith in Desmond Ridder. I know that some people in the Falcons camp think that he's going to be a lot better this year in year 2, but come on, man. Taylor Heineke, give me him. He's got that dog in him. I don't care what the stats say. I don't care what the analysts say. I don't care what the comments say. Taylor Heineke has that dog in him.
Oh, fantastic pick, in my opinion. I'm right there with you. He does have that dog in him.
I can't believe the situation that I'm in right here. I thought I was like, you were going to pick either Ridder or Mayfield, and then the other one would be in my lap, and I was fine either way. Now I actually have to make a decision. So this is
you're welcome.
This is really something here. And I don't know who to pick, man. I guess Ridder has higher upside because he's the young guy. But I honestly never really thought he was that much of a high upside quarterback in the first place. He does have really good weapons around him, and I have Bijan and Kyle Pitts on my team. So maybe that boosts him up a little bit. But I think Baker is probably the right guy to go with here. I do have Chris Godwin. I think Baker's going to like Chris Godwin a lot as a target, as a guy that just consistently gets open a lot. He's just going to be a very reliable target for him. So that boosts me having that connection there. I think the right pick is Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Wow. I was really scared for a second that there'd be 2 Falcon quarterbacks taken.
Yeah.
And that was just going to be depressing.
I almost took Ridder. I was really close.
Man.
See, I didn't even want to have to face that decision of Ridder versus Mayfield, so I just chose my own path and took Taylor Heineke.
I like it. I agree with you.
I almost took Taysom Hill. For what it's worth, I almost took Taysom Hill.
I think by week 3, Heineke will be starting. I'm gonna go under your week 4.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, hey, it's another fun draft, division by division. We've gotten through both of the Souths, so they're all done. We got some exciting divisions coming up, including the AFC West at some point. So, all right, boys, great to see you virtually again. We did it in person, but it was a little too much. So, have a good week, and Jesse, see you in Israel.
L'chaim.
Virtually.